Hey there, everyone. It's GG Sober Sun. January 6th. Keeping sober is the most important thing in my life. The most important decision I ever made was my decision to give up drinking. I am convinced that my whole life depends on not taking that first drink. Nothing in the world is as important to me as my own sobriety. Everything I have, my whole life, depends on that one thing. Can I afford ever to forget this, even for 1 minute? Yeah, I think if I take one drink, all bets are off, man. I dream it sometimes, that I catch myself after having had a drink. Maybe even dreamt it last night. It's weird. So, and it's just like, one, the disappointment in going back to it, because I've been given such a wonderful life in sobriety. Not just because I'm sober. That's the first thing, but that I have a life beyond my wildest dreams. I was talking to a fellow traveler yesterday who, we were talking about like being poofed, like God could miracle us from this, ailment, if you want to call it that. But I've been given, the subject was retirement, right? And I was curious to know what a non-alcoholic does in retirement. What does retirement look like? For me, I'm not 100% retired. I still have my business, and so what I typically do is I fill my life with service work. I am, as I shared before, I volunteer to take meetings into rehabs and jail, and I chair meetings when asked. I'm on the treatment committee, and I volunteer at my church, in more than one area, I'll put it that way. And so I'm on the men's fellowship, and the camera, and the prayer team. So getting out of myself is a huge part of that, obviously, but it's almost like I don't know what people do with boredom and things like that if they're not involved in service work. Meditation for the day. I will discipline myself. I will do this disciplining now. I will turn out all useless thoughts. I know that the goodness of my life is a necessary foundation for its usefulness. I will welcome this training, for without it, God cannot give me his power. I disagree with that statement. I believe that this power is a mighty power when it is used in the right way. And I think that it's important for me to disagree with that statement, because and I probably could use a little more discipline in my life for sure, right? But this suggests that I need to get good for God so that God will use me. But the 6-step prayer says, remove from me every single defect of character that stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. which means, suggests that sometimes my character defects can be used by God in the service of others. Sometimes my selfishness, like I said earlier, my selfishness in my desperation to get out of my own head, I go out and I'm of service to others. That's a selfish reason. And if I was perfectly fine with being on my own and could be, and I'm probably justifying my behavior at this point, but if I was perfectly okay and could manage my time and better and in my house everything had a place and everything was in its place, then I might not be willing to go out and be of service, because my priorities are elsewhere. So and this notion that without my self-discipline God cannot give me his power, that's utter nonsense. Sorry, fella writer of this book. But I disagree with that. And even in the really big book, the Bible, it's replete with people who are flawed, and God certainly gives them his power. All the disciples had their issues, and the one he gave the most power to was Peter, and Peter was probably the most screwed up one of them all. He was just eager. He's an eager beaver, and God blessed him mightily. So, prayer for the day. I pray that I may face and accept whatever discipline is necessary. I pray that I may be fit to receive God's power in my life. I'll never be fit to receive God's power. Again, I'm gonna contradict the reading here. I will never be fit to receive God's power. This reading today is getting me hot. You know what I mean? Because it says all, in the really big book, it says all our disciplines, in other words, all our righteousness is like filthy rags when it comes to earning our right to receive God's power, to receive God's anything. And from what I understand, and I don't mean to be crude, the original Greek translated Paul's statement as like filthy, like soiled maxi pads, right? That's pretty gross, right? So don't try to get good for God. Just how we quote unquote get good for God is to surrender. Conform our will to his will. The big book says it, and it is so true. That's the proper use of our will. So give up. Recovery has been more about surrendering than it has been about grinding. Sort of grinding, and so I feel pretty fortunate there. And trust that God will continue to put in front of me what is necessary each day, one day at a time. Surrender, admit that I'm powerless, right? And my life is unmanageable by me. It's manageable by God. So it's best that I stay plugged into him one day at a time. Love y'all. Chin up. Aim up. We can aim up. That's fine. God will be the one to help you rise up. Love you.